Time's up.
What's up guys, this is Cody here, and today in this video we're going to be taking a look at the brand new electric skateboard Blink S by Acton. Now Acton was actually nice enough to send this out to me for me to check out, and I have to say I am pretty impressed. The only electric skateboard that I've ever owned is the boosted board, so when I got this it was definitely a much different ride. But before we get into that experience, let's go ahead and take a look at the board and everything you get inside the box. So other than the board, we also have the remote control, which you can see here, and this is obviously going to be used to control the board. You can turn it on and off, go forward or backwards, and other than that, you really just have a charger in the box. So this is going to charge your board, and it can charge it in an hour from 0% to 100%. Other than that, we just have the manual and a little piece of paper with a warning on it reminding you to drive safe. Now the board not only looks great in camera, but in real life too, and I actually love the two-tone of the wood and the gray with the black strip in the middle. The grip is a little different. It's actually a varnish with a grit sand in it, so it's not your typical grip tape that you would normally see on a lot of boards. But from my personal experience, I haven't had any issue whatsoever with this type of grip. Now for the Blink S, the drivetrain is all in one wheel. Acton is actually coming out with a Blink S2 as well. It's going to have both of the rear wheels powered, which is going to give it more speed, power, and climb. So in terms of speed, Acton says this can go up to 15 miles per hour and climb 15% grade hills. Of course, we'll put that all to the test. Now, of course, we're going to talk about lights here. So you can see the side lights on the board are actually automatically turned on once you turn on the board. There's no way of turning those off. You can't see them during the day, but at night they are very, very helpful. Now, not only do you have side lights on both sides of the board, but you also have two headlights as well as a tail light. So for the tail light, you can see here that it's always blinking red. And then if we switch up here to the headlights, you'll see that there's two of those, and both the tail lights and headlights can be turned on and off just by using the app. Now with all these lights, it really illuminates your board at night and makes night riding just a whole new game. But we'll get more into that in just a second. Now in terms of build quality, this thing is solid. So you can see right here that we don't have any flex in the board. It's very, very sturdy. Even with me jumping on it, you're not seeing much flex in the board at all. Now the weight limit for this board is 220 pounds. And if you're 220 pounds or less, then the range is going to be 7 miles. And you're probably thinking to yourself, well, what if we have the lights on? Is that going to affect the range? Well, the lights use such little of the battery that it really has no effect on the range of the board whatsoever. So you're probably thinking, well, yeah, this looks like an awesome board, but what's the most important question that everybody's asking? How much does this thing cost? Well, it actually costs a whole lot cheaper than the cheapest boosted board, which is $1,000. This one, the Blink S, comes in at $699. But if you use the link in the description below, you'll actually get another $105 off. So that brings it down to $595, which in my opinion, and hopefully yours after this review, is definitely worth the deal for this quality. Now that's just for the Blink S. If you're actually looking for the Blink S2 or the Blink Quattro, you can save up to $255 if you use that link in the description. So definitely worth going through the link to knock off a lot of dough for you guys if you want to check any of these boards out. So the first thing that I did was I took the board to the park just to get a feel for the ride and just to test everything out. Alright, so I just took it out for my first spin here at the park, and I gotta say this thing is pretty awesome. It's something a little bit different than, you know, something like the boosted board or other electric skateboards, because first of all, if you're familiar with the boosted board, it's a longboard. This is not a longboard. It's very different. The deck is a whole lot different as well. It's not the bamboo, so it's not real stretchy and bendable. And also it's got a nice curve here. This is actually gonna give you a whole lot more grip and be able to make those turns a whole lot tighter, which is actually really, really nice. Now before I got on this board, I was thinking 15 miles an hour really isn't as fast as I would like to go. And then once I actually got on it, it was plenty fast. But now that I've got used to it, I'm comfortable with it, I wish that it just went a little bit quicker. 20 miles per hour would satisfy my needs, but really 15 miles an hour for this board is quite enough if you're using it for, you know, what it's intended to be used for, which is being a last mile vehicle. Now, Acton says that this board goes 15 miles per hour, but I haven't tested that myself. So of course, let's get back on the road here and let's see how fast this bad boy can go. So you can see right here that the Blink S had absolutely no trouble whatsoever hitting that 15 mile an hour top speed. Now you'll even see near the end it actually hit up to 16.4 miles per hour, and I wasn't going down a hill or anything like that. I was literally right there on flat surface in pro mode with the throttle all the way up. So it's really nice to see that Acton over-delivered in that department. Now something else that surprised me on the Blink S is how easy it is to pump the board. So this is something that if on a boosted board you run out of battery, pumping the board is not that easy. I mean, you can do it, but you can definitely feel the gears and that drivetrain actually working against you as you push with every single kick. Now with this board, the Blink S, you're not getting that pushback on the drivetrain, which is really, really awesome. It literally feels just like a little bit heavier of a skateboard that you're able to still just pump right up a hill. Now I'm not gonna say it's exactly like riding a skateboard because it is a little bit heavier of a board, so you're gonna have to kick a little bit harder, but still at the same time, it's a very easy board to ride, even if you're not using the remote. Now really there was only one downside that I would say about this board at all, and that would have to be the brakes. Now that may seem like a very important thing for you to have, but let me reassure you, once you get used to it, it's a little bit better. Now I noticed that if you're going a whole lot faster, then the actual brakes work better, just because it's more of a gradual slowdown, just because you're going faster and the brakes can only work so well. So it gradually slows you down if you're going pretty quick. Now if you're going slower, it's really hard to actually ease into the brake. So if you're going like 5 to 6 miles per hour, and rather than, putting your foot down and you're trying to hit that brake, it's actually going to kind of jar you forward. But the issue I had with it was that I was going slower just to test out the brakes. So when it was jarring me, it was really hard for me to kind of ease up into actually going faster and trying to brake, just because of course I thought it was going to jar me even harder, which would launch me off the board, which I didn't want to do. But it kind of seemed to be the opposite of that. So it didn't launch me off the board if I'm going quick, but it was a little bit jarring if I was going pretty slow. I kind of found myself not using the brakes all that much anyway. I would just kind of coast into whatever location I was going into, and then once I got to a point where I wanted to stop, I would just put my foot down to stop. Now back to night riding. So with those lights on, this was a lot of fun. I mean, everything was illuminated. It didn't matter how dark the area was that you were going into, it was just bright as day right under your feet. So you could see where you were going, you could see rocks in front of you that you could avoid, you could see big cracks or, potholes, anything like that you would normally be afraid of while you're riding at night. You don't have to worry about it with this because you have an entire aura just surrounding you. I literally had cars stopping and watching me. But I did look kind of crazy. I mean, I was on the board and I had a massive tripod with a camera hooked to it, I probably looked a little insane. Maybe they weren't just stopping for the lights, but I'm sure that's what grabbed their attention initially. But needless to say, that's not going to be the last time that I'm going night riding. Now, not only does it look cool and make things safer for you as you're driving around or riding around, looking for potholes, rocks, cracks, anything like that, it's a whole lot easier to see you. So if there's a car coming and you're riding, on the sidewalk or anywhere else, they can actually see you. You don't want to literally ride in the street, but at the same time, if you did, they would be able to see you because of the lights. Now, of course, the next thing we want to talk about is the app. So let's go ahead and jump into that. So right here is the Actin app. You can see we just open this up and you can tap to scan. So my board is actually not on, but if I go ahead and turn it on, and then we tap to scan, you can see my board shows up right here. So if we tap on that, tap connect, you are automatically connected to your board right here. So once you do that, you can see a little pop-up right there that mileage will sync. So you don't actually have to use your app in order to use your board every single time. So it doesn't have to be connected necessarily to your app. You can just use the remote control and turn on your board, and then you're good to go. Now you can see if I go ahead and turn on my remote control, that will actually get the battery percentage right here and the estimated mileage that we're going to get out of that percentage of battery. So on the top left, this is actually what you would tap on to turn on your headlights and taillights. There's no way to turn each one of those on independently, so if you just tap this button right here, it's actually going to turn on headlights and taillights. Right over here in the top right hand corner, this is actually the signal that you have connected to your board. And this circle right here is the battery percentage, so you can see that it's filled up 60% of the way. And then right here you can tap on this. This is actually the name of your board. So if you tap on that, you can take your own picture of your board, which you can see right there that I've already done. You can name it just by tapping the little edit button right there, and you can see how many miles you put on the board right there. Now if you ever need to resync your remote, you can do so just by tapping the button in the top left hand corner up there, and then the instructions of how to do that are actually on the manual. But we'll go ahead and tap out of this, and as we scroll down, you can see the current trip right here, as well as riding time, and then you also have your mode. So you can see, since I have my remote on, if I go ahead and start to ride this, you can see how fast it's actually going right there, which is 17.1 because it doesn't have any resistance or anything. We also see that the riding time is ticking up as well. So once it gets to 0.1 miles, for your current trip, you'll see that tick up right there as well. So we'll go ahead and do that. So you can see that tick up to 0.1 miles. So this is all live. So now as we scroll down, you'll notice that we have Pro mode. This is what you would want to use if you want to go the fastest that the board can offer. So you just tap and hold on this, and then you can see you have the normal mode as well as the beginner mode. So beginner mode goes really slow. I actually never used this, but I had a couple of buddies that did start out on beginner mode. But normal mode, this was a good starting point. I rode on normal mode for about, I think it was a little over a mile before I went up to Pro mode, just to kind of get the hang of it and get the feel of the board and everything. But it really doesn't take that long to step your game up to Pro mode if you've ever ridden a skateboard before. Now coming down here, you have like little challenges that you can sign up for. It just like pops up and it says, can you ride 3 miles in 7 days? I'll definitely be able to do that. I started this actually yesterday. So you just tap on it and then it puts it right there. Same thing for the trips down here. You can see for the days that I've actually used this and how many miles I've ridden this for. So you just tap on refresh if you need to resync. So you can see it just resync that mileage that I was just doing up here, just that 0.1 mile. So right down here we have all of our tabs. So if we tap on explore right here, this is actually going to show you all of the users that actually have Acton boards in your area. So you can see there's only 2 right here at the University of Texas at Dallas, which is kind of close to me. So you can see that there are 2 of those right there. Now if we go over here to rank, you can see how you stack up against other Acton users. So you can tap on all. This is going to be all the different types of boards, and you know, like rocket skates, everything. You can tap on blink just to filter out everything but blink. Then you have your rocket skates over here as well. And then right over here you just have your profile. So all in all, I think this is a really good companion app. I'm really happy that I don't have to link up my application and launch the app every single time that I want to ride the board. This is something that I had to do with the rocket skates when I reviewed it. And if you guys haven't seen my rocket skates review from Acton, I definitely recommend checking it out just to show you guys that I am not biased towards Acton. I mean, I thought rocket skates at the time of my review were just not ready for the public, and I am absolutely in love with the Blink S. So a lot has changed over at Acton. I'm really happy that they're getting some products out there that were really pretty awesome. All right, guys, if you enjoyed the video, make sure you hit that like button. I would really appreciate it. Of course, you guys want to stay up to date with everything tech, jailbreak, Apple, or anything else that I want to cover. Hopefully, I'll be covering the Quattro board from Acton as well. That thing looks really awesome. It's really fast, insane range. That looks really cool. Hopefully I'll get that as well. So if you guys want to stay up to date with everything that I cover, make sure you hit that subscribe button, and I will see you guys in the next video.